Today I'll give you 3 keys to a successful business. This is coming from someone who has built an empire right from college. So I was going to college simultaneously building my empire. I've distilled every single thing I've learned into 3 keys. Listen to this very carefully. Majority of you might not like my style of teaching. Majority of you might detest the fact I use words like peasant and soft, bourgeoisie. But in fact, the first thing I want to say, or the first thing I want to address on that wise is in society today, we care much about people's feelings, how they feel, what you shouldn't say, those kind of things. So we persecute the person who highlights the problem as opposed to the problem itself. We have individuals today who protest, go to war, who do all of these activities. The government persecutes them as opposed to the problem or solve the problem itself. So when I call you soft, peasant, bourgeoisie, instead of you sitting down there as a sentient individual, the fact that this hurts me means there's an element of truth. I need to get to work as opposed to, you're evil, how much money do you have? No, look inward and try and solve the problem. If the tables were reversed and you call me peasant, would I get upset? Of course not, because I'm me. But that's not the discourse. Why? What I wanted to say on that wise. Remember the story when Samson, very hungry in the wilderness, and he saw honey in the midst of a carcass. And the voice said to him, can you take the honey in the midst of the carcass? That's the metaphor of looking beyond people's frailty and extracting their value. This is a skill majority lack in today's day and age. This is a bonus point. The Bible recounts Elijah was an angry man, yet he was anointed. He was an angry man. And it's that kind of individual Elisha choose to serve. A man who will call down fire for disrupting his prayer session. Like fire will burn you literally. Elisha. And yet he was a disciple. As a consequence, he received the double portion of the anointing. Extrapolate towards our own concept. Can you look beyond my frailties? Can you look beyond this shirt you don't like? Can you look beyond my style of communication and extract my value? As a professional, I don't give a shit about what you do. If you say something I like, I will commend your point, not your behavior. I listen to Hitler. I like his style of communication. I like the way he spoke with passion. Now, does that mean I condone every single thing he did against the Jews? It's debatable. But the point I'm trying to highlight is every single one of you must get to a point of maturity and stability where you can extract talking points or where you can see things objectively without any bias. So the first key in order to a successful business is vision. Vision. This one might sound obvious. Unfortunately, people just have a product and there's no vision. I've said it in my various business seminars that businesses are born for one of these 3 reasons: vision, passion, and hunger. Unfortunately, 80 to 90% of businesses are born from the latter. When your business is born out of hunger, it's never going to be sustainable because you are in survival mode. At the infancy of the business, if you are told to walk through fire, gladly you will do it. And because of the justice of the universe, very soon you attain your desire. Unfortunately, you notice something remarkable, that the business starts to decline because the tuition fee has been paid, the mortgage has been paid off, every single thing is fine. The driving factor, the engineer behind the wheel has been appeased. At most, those kind of business now substitute vision with financial target. So the whole objective of the business is built around numbers. If you build your business around numbers, if you're a businessman and you know anything about business, it's only a matter of time before you lose the business, because individuals, the salespeople, and every single person associated to meet that deadline will go through unethical practices to meet the target. Unethical and how to hedge against that activity, you learn later along the line. So let me not get ahead of myself. But vision is very important as touching the success of your business. My people perish because they lack no vision. Even Jesus wept as a consequence of ignorance. Vision is very important as touching your business. Vision now substitute for purpose. Vision is something you have to communicate as a leader. Vision is what inspires people to give up their life for your corporation. This idea that they are part of something bigger. If you notice great companies, or if you observe great companies or individuals who have achieved so much, they are leaders who have been able to communicate the vision, the contribution of every single person in the materialization of that goal. And every single person feels unique, because unfortunately, people lack purpose. And if you are in a unique position to give them purpose, you would attain heights of power unimaginable. That's why individuals still fall prey to gurus, shamans, people who position themselves as a beacon of hope, either to their financial liberty or to their sexual liberty, or something of value, something that aggrandizes their status. Vision, vision. When JFK went to NASA, he saw a cleaner. What are you doing here? Well, Mr. President, I'm helping put a man on the moon. That is a consequence of effective leadership. That down to the janitor still has some sense, a degree of responsibility, a degree of contribution, and you are part of something bigger. Humans functions on incentive. Unfortunately, incentive has been reduced to economy. And if I said incentive and your mind went to finances, then this video is not for you. You are so impoverished in your mentality, like you are too low, you are too poor mentally, that you truly believe everything is about money. Of course, money accounts for a huge percentile of your sojourn on this earth. I'm not one of those guys who would teach you on the benefit of poverty and say money doesn't make sense, money is evil, you do not really need money, rich people are bad. No, none of that. But what I would say is this: incentive is not always about money. Sometimes incentive can be satisfaction. Incentive can be contribution. Incentive can mean various things as long as it's communicated effectively. I recall one time back in high school, I I was punished very badly to paint the school wall. No, that wasn't the story. To cut grass. was punished to cut grass. I called a lot of people to come help me out. Nobody wanted to help me. 2, 3, 4 days passed. Still no activity on that farmland. I decided to start. And as I began, passerbys will come. My friend, are you the only person cutting this grass? Yeah, it's no big deal. What do you mean it's no big deal? What about blisters? I dare you won't be able to go from here to here without flinching, without gassing out. It becomes like a challenge and every single person wants to hop on. Yes, they knew there was an element of deception, but there was also an element of satisfaction to be gained. We are all children, there was no in-depth psychology, nobody was like this idea of technology didn't exist at the time. So I created a sense of satisfaction from that activity. And within an hour, the farmland I have procrastinated for days was finished in the space of an hour. So incentives is not necessarily, it's not limited to finances alone. Incentives can mean various things for as long as it's communicated effectively. Plus vision helps to perpetuate the company. Vision keeps the company growing. What the company stands for, at least it imbibes or vision transmutes towards purpose. I've said it countless times. Humans are purposeful beings. Purposeful beings. If you are purposeless on a long enough time frame, you will plunge into depression. That's why majority feel like they hate their 9 to 5 job. The truth, what you truly hate is yourself because there's no purpose associated with that activity. You're going to your job to make ends meet. You're going to your job to solve your money problem. There's no soul attached to your job. Conversely, like that janitor, if you were told that your job every single day was not make this place clean, but to foster a neat environment that would help the first people to step on the moon. Now that's a better way to put it. Not sweep here, make clear their contribution towards the success of the company, even as little as it is, down to the janitor. Give everybody a sense of belonging. So back to my point that it transmutes to purpose. Humans will do anything to feel purposeful, anything at all to feel purposeful. Till this date, individuals still sign towards terror group, sign towards terror group. Do you kill? Yes. Do you destroy? Yes. Why is this the case? They have a sense of belonging. They know that if they take certain risks, if they make certain sacrifice, they will be promoted. That promotion is seen as progress. Progress is an emotion derived from purpose. The reason you gravitate towards negative activities, negative outlets, look at the LGBT community. They give you a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose. They are fighting an opposition. They are trying to suppress the queer community. We refuse, we stand up, and why every single person is in the midst of this degrading activity. It's purposeful. There's something you look forward to. Up until that point, there were people who just drowned in depression on their bed. Now there's some rally or some meetup where everybody has to be naked. There's some pride month. It gives them a sense of purpose. The same thing with guys. Majority have little to no idea why they cheat. Majority do not have idea why they are attracted multiple partners. No, I think that's a natural thing. Or why once they're done with this girl, they're looking for the next person. My friend, you lack purpose. You lack purpose. So women have become your purpose. Initially, when you're done with X girl, instantly you lose attraction. You're looking for the next person. You're looking for the next person, the next girl, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. It's an infinite loop, a very hedonistic round. If you're on that trajectory, please turn around. It's a waste of time. If I look at it this way, every single thing is psychology. Every single thing is in the mind. First girl, 10 out of 10. Second girl, 3 out of 10. Your mind tricks you into enjoying one of the activity and detesting the other one, although it's still the same goal of intimacy. If you were or their faces were covered in the dark and you've never met them before, you still enjoy, it's still the same experience. You enjoy them equally. So it's your mind that tricks you to relish the moment with one and detest the other. Now, by that same logic, you can apply it to your life. That going from one woman to the other woman is totally a waste of time. I'm not saying it's bad or evil or trying to give it labels, but the point is it's totally a waste of time. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of resources. If you keep expending energy without any net gain, you will end up depleted. If I said depleted and your mind tilted towards finances, you're a very poor man. A very poor man. If you are still at the point where finances is all you care about, if you are still at a point where money is something, anytime you hear the word loss, that's your go-to place. You are poor. Your time, most importantly, my time is my most valuable asset. If I lose $2 million now, it won't piss me off nearly if I spend a month in jail, especially if I was wrongfully convicted. I'll pay $2 million to have a month to myself, not doing fuck all, not wasting my time, but taxing my mind, reviewing various financials, looking for the various businesses. Majority of people are very, very poor. Right now, if I walk into a restaurant, I pay attention. How can I outcompete these people? What are they doing wrong? Why is that ugly bitch in front of the counter? This place is close to an office. It's most likely these handsome young men will take their lunch in this place. There needs to be a cute body. Yeah, sure, I'll pay her 20% more. Whatever. I had this restaurant one time. My eyes itchy. I won't say the name. But I had this restaurant. What I would do is to hire a bunch of pretty girls who would draw men from Instagram to have lunch there. Those kind of girls, they had their own special table. The waiters knew them obviously. They knew what they were doing. So their bills normally is inflated. They were paid 10% of whatever the guys spent on that table. So that bill was inflated. The 10% will be covered by the additional charge. And that's how that restaurant succeeded, by drawing stupid men to spend hundreds of thousands of naira on the dinner table. Anyways, I sold the business. I'm a righteous man. That's not something I want to be involved in. But something every single one of you should learn is vision. Imbibe vision. Imbibe vision. Imbibe vision. Imbibe vision. Imbibe vision. Have vision, not just for your business, but for your life. There are individuals today. I ask you, what are you doing when you get home? Ah, and it's that same guy who spent extensive hours in the place of prayer. Who are you deceiving? Even the Bible said, my people perish for the lack of vision. What are you working on? What book are you reading? What business are you building? Are your daily schedules tailored towards a goal? Is there something you're doing? Is there a side hustle aside this business? And what are you doing to improve that side hustle? Not just advertising, because the best kind of value is not to give value. The best kind of value is to be the value yourself. I truly believe I got to a point where I am so valuable. I told myself that you would need me in something. There's something I can do for you. That I can look at your business and within 1 hour of consuming the raw materials, I can tell you the various points on how to optimize your income legally. I can do something. There's a problem I can solve for you. And you don't need to tell me the problem. I'm rich. I know what rich people problems are. And once I look at you, say here, 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 do it like this. Back then in the university, in my 100 level, I would say to one guy, my roommate at the time, I would say to him, confronted with a billionaire, would you want to be your friend? Truly, it's a question every single one of you needs to ask yourself. I want to go to this party. I want to go on network. Alright, you have the contact of the various billionaires. What are you using it for? Would that kind of person want to be your friend? That's why I teach very little on network, because network is a byproduct of your value. There are people today who I never sought out. They sought me out. The Bible says you shine and kings come to the brightness of your rising. You are not doing anything and you expect kings to come. And unfortunately, I'm not trying to talk down on relationships. Relationships are very vital as touching life and destiny. Everything comes from God through men to men. Your promotion, what you spend endless and extensive hours in the place of prayer, is a reality on this man's table. You get the point? So if you insult this man and pray to God, what are the chances of your promotion coming? Exactly. Even God needs men to fulfill his purposes. God needs men to fulfill his purposes. When the angel appeared to Mary and gave her the explanation, he said, be it unto me. If she made a conscious decision to reject that reality, the angel, the Spirit of God, moves, seeking out another virgin. The Bible says, Samuel, how long would you stay here, seeing that rejected Saul? How long? So David was anointed, yet God didn't have the power. God did not have the power to remove Saul. He needed a man. So do not trivialize men. Do not downplay and destroy relationships. All I need to do is shine. No, no. You need to understand the dynamics of power. I shouldn't have made that statement, but there's how to navigate it. It's a very nuanced concept, but you never make your superior feel insecure. You need to bide by your time. I don't want to go into the into the subject of psychology, but what you need to know at this level is all blessing comes from God through men to men, not dishonor men. So back to our subject on network. Network is a concept that has existed for eons, for decades, for centuries. And the rich people have taught it to their children and their grandchildren, creating a progressive generation of wealthy individuals. Wealthy individuals. and you're just learning about it now, running like a kid. Next one, fucking stupid. When was the last time Elon went from dinner tables to dinner tables handing out business cards? No, no. All you need to do is shine. Majority of you are not valuable. And there are two doors to enter the table of success. The door of need, you will forever be a beggar. You will gain the results but at the expense of the humanity. But majority of you, perhaps you're used to frustrating, and that's not something I promised myself. I would never get contract or any kind of opportunity by bowing down. No, I'm too proud. Yes, I am proud. And it's something once you say in today's day and society where they like to subjugate people. Why are you saying that? Fucking stupid. Yes, I'm proud. I like being proud. Pride imposes a stringent level of discipline. You see, whenever you make or whenever you find yourself excusing your failure as a consequence of race, gender, skin color. I'm a woman, that's why you are incompetent. Your incompetence or just enhance those factors. I was speaking to one of my billionaire friends and I said to him, if a green guy walks through that door with the potential to 10x your business, would you hire him? On the spot, he said, so what's now your problem? What is your excuse? You've seen your problem by this analogy. The problem is not the fact that you're a woman. The problem is not the fact that you are short, skinny. The problem is that you are not valued. You are not valued. You think you are, but you are not. And value is in the eyes of the receiver. Yes, majority of you are valuable to your family in the sense that if you get kidnapped, they are willing to sell properties, but hundreds of millions. Coming from that experience, you feel a false sense of importance that billions of properties were liquidated because of you. You are valuable to your family, but in order to get returns from the marketplace, you need to be valuable to the marketplace. All of this discourse started from the false narrative of going to billionaire weddings and shaking their hands. If you take my contact today, it doesn't mean I will respond. There are individuals who steal my contact. It's your entitlement. You can steal my number. You cannot steal my response. You're not valuable. You're complaining from left to right. You're in a conversation with your chief executive. Alright, he's your friend. You have 5 minutes of his time. He's listening. Speak. You've been praying to God. Speak. Elon is in your presence. Speak. No one. You're quiet. You're valueless. You're fucking valueless. And you wonder why you are poor. Majority of you can't even articulate one sentence without stuttering. You stand before kings and you begin to stutter. Or without combining it with pidgin. Some of it has become a lifestyle. We are speaking English and pidgin. I don't know. They have to create a separate lexicon. So whenever you get into that phase, they say he's not speaking English. He's speaking XYZ language. Value, 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 vision, vision. Do you have vision for your life? Do you have vision for the business? What do you do with your time? How do you spend your time? Just in the first one. Second, for the sake of time, is value. Value, values, values. Now by values, I don't mean your transactionable value. I mean the ethics. As I was sharing earlier in point one, in order to hedge against the unethical properties associated with wealth or soliciting for contract, your company has to be indoctrinated with values. And values is not limited to the cardboard on the wall. Values is not limited to affirmations chanted. Values are something that should be lived in your day-to-day experience. My friend shared this story of two couples, newly employed, killing it in the sales department, raking in hundreds of thousands of dollars weekly. Rumors began to spread in the company. They're getting sales through unethical means. They're getting sales through unethical means. In that kind of situation, the best thing or the first thing you do as a director is to feign disbelief or to feign deafness. But the rumors began to escalate. He decided to hire a PI. This investigator made him promise not to interfere with his job, which he obliged. 3 days later, his phone rings. Hello, who is this? The secretary shares with him some personal briefings, and that's all. The telephone rings again. Now the personal investigator, you won't believe what I found. Come on in. Personal investigator shares his findings, confirms the rumors with evidence. Now, the director is placed within a dilemma. Does he stick to the values and lose out on hundreds of thousands of dollars, or does he compromise and retain the earnings, making shareholders and superiors happy? He called the couples in, confronted them. They considered it to be true. They said, we needed extra money, they are going bankrupt. They made up excuses. You know what he did? He fired them both. And immediately he fired them. He set a standard in the company that this is what we do and this is what we don't do. The respect from his employees, from his subordinates, more than tripled. What directors, what executives, what the hierarchy fail to understand is your subordinates watch your every move. The things you are doing, you believe is in secret. Everybody knows. That's why one day you wake up and it looks as though nobody respects you. That's why you have to be very careful what you say in the office, what you say to your friend, what you say to your colleague. Eventually, words get out. I see you people nodding your head in agreement. It appears as though there's been some scandal. There's been something in that similitude. Don't tell anybody. There's no such thing as don't tell anybody. In fact, if you have to make that person swear into your confidence, it means you just shared information with a gossiper. And as the Bible said, telling a gossiper a secret is like an arrow stuck to his foot. Yeah. So values, values, values. Values are very important. I see values. Look at it this way. If you had an individual who could look at the sky, tell the time. Today is 14th of April, 2029, and tell the exact time and date. That's impressive, right? What would be even more impressive is if he distilled that intellect in the form of a clock so that anybody who beholds can tell the time. If you extrapolate that concept into system building, and you just created a system where anybody can look and they make the exact same decision as you would. This is one of the things executives need to understand, that delegation is not necessarily giving other people your work, because giving them your work without the orientation, they will do it like them, not you, which defeats the whole purpose of delegation. Delegation is meant to lighten your body, not supervise other people's work. You supervise the end product. Of course, it might sound counterintuitive because Nigerians are so used. That's the model we grew up with. That's the model we've been mentored with. But I'm telling you, you can build a clock such that the only thing you need to supervise is the end product. One of the ways is to record yourself while doing the work. Make sure I feel like the 80-20 rule or the 20-60-20 rule. So the 20% is the work you want to do. The 60% is how you want to do the work. And the 60% should be malleable. However the person does it, or as long as it is constrained within our ethics and values, fine. Then the 20% bottom is the outcome, the result. That's what you should be fixated on. That's what you should supervise. It's 20%. So values. Every company needs values in order to thrive. I did a study. I wanted to know how companies were able to perpetuate themselves, how companies were able to exist for centuries, for eons, for decades. The company Disney was founded in 1900, the early 1900s, yet is still existing. So over a century plus. Yes, over a century plus. Values, values. Create a clock so that before you leave, you're not terrified of the CEO or the next person. Will he counsel your effort? Every single thing you struggle to amass, will he fuck it all up? That's where values come into place. For the sake of time, let me summarize. Number three is passion. Anything worth doing is very difficult. Anything worth doing is very difficult. They are very, very difficult to do. So some of you who are engaged in side hustles and businesses would agree it is very painful, not just physically, but emotionally. There are times where you feel you want to give up, nothing makes sense, yet you still have to find strength to persist, yet you still have to do the difficulties, submit yourself to the consecration, although it's not working. So anything worth doing is very painful. Take me for instance, I would research, bring unique perspective on various subjects, record the video, speak very fast because I was using an iPhone X which has glass back in a room that was very, very hot. So the heat, once it makes contact with the glass back, the video stops abruptly as a consequence of high temperature. High temperature. So what I would do to subvert that situation is to speak as quickly as possible to get my point out. And after a lot of sacrifices, a lot of consecration, parties made, sacrifices to be as intelligent as this, the sacrifice spent in study and all of that, and get zero views. I'm not talking of 100 views. No, no, zero views. It got to a point where my two brothers will watch it, so I'll get two views. So once the view count drops to one, I'll know, he's returned back to school. So passion is very difficult to do things worthy of admiration. For the sake of time, I'll end it here. As always, my friends, it's a pleasure speaking to you. See you in the next one.